Good morning. Well, on Tuesday morning, Puxatawny Phil declared that winter would last for 6 more weeks. Actually, Puxatawny didn't say a word as the snow filtered down around him and a man in a top hat read from a scroll. The groundhog was silent, but sniffed the air and sniffed the microphone when it was offered to the groundhog. I noticed that the hands of the well-dressed man holding the groundhog were a little scratched, and I wondered if the groundhog and the man had had a disagreement about when was a good time for a groundhog to wake up and come out. The groundhog, I think, preferred sleeping to media coverage. And a groundhog would know this is a good time to stay tucked in, warm and safe. Why wouldn't a groundhog know things about the earth that busy humans miss? Winter, spring, each comes in its own time. Don't fight the winter, and you can't hurry the spring. Everything happens in its own time. Everything happens just as it does. For the 1,000 things that we can shape and move and participate in, there are 1,000 things we cannot control at all. We wait while the snow falls, while the roots underground begin their conversation with the soil, while the longer days slowly stretch until the sap starts to rise. The groundhog knows. The groundhog says, be still, be patient. Get close to the earth. Listen. Life is all around you. Be quiet. Be amazed. One of the ways that we keep reminding ourselves to be centered, really, more than quiet necessarily, is by lighting a chalice together, by calling ourselves back to that amazement at life, even if it is surprising and not going quite the way we want it to go. Still, we can honor it and be amazed. So I invite you to find a candle. I saw as we were gathering that some of you were collecting your special candles. Or if a candle doesn't work for you, there are lots of ways to put something beautiful and important right at the center of your space this morning. And while I light our chalice that has been in our sanctuary space for years now, I invite you to speak the words of our covenant. The words will be in the chat. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to respect the nurturing power within all of us. Thus do we covenant. And Taylor will lead us in singing our opening hymn, Lady of the Season's Laughter.
Lady of the season's laughter, in the summer warmth beneath, when the winter follows after, teach our spirits not to fear. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning year. here among us till the far light of tomorrow's dawning day. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning day. Mother of the generations, in whose love all life is worth, everlasting celebrations bring our labors safe to birth. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning earth. Goddess of all time's progression, stand with us when we engage, bands and hearts to end oppression, writing history's fairer page. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning age.
Very good, very good. I seem to have all my materials here. Hello, Peter. Hello, Trillium. Very glad you could come by. I could use some help here. I have a lot of Valentines to make.
Oh, Valentine's? Is that what I agreed to help you with? You know, I don't really consider myself a Valentine kind of guy, but if you need a little help, I'm happy to pitch in.
Well, thank you. Yes, I have 167 Valentines to make. I have that many siblings.
167 Valentines? You got that many siblings? That many brothers and sisters?
Well, not all identify as either, actually, but yes, I have 167 siblings, and well, rabbits are very productive. Yes.
Oh, hi, everybody. Hi, little Trillium.
Oh, hello, Donk.
Oh, hi, Kohlrabi.
Hello, Donk. Yes.
Hey, Donk, what's up?
Gamer Pete, why are you wearing sunglasses?
Oh, I forgot I had these on. I went to the eye doctor today. They had to check to see if I had any glaucoma in my eyes.
Oh, cool. Guacamole in your eyes. That's really cool.
No, Donk, not guacamole. It's an ophthalmology thing. Let me explain that to you.
Enough of this chitter chatter. We have a lot of Valentines to make. I have 167 siblings, and they all need a Valentine.
Oh.
Oh, Donk. Oh, you're looking kind of sad. Is everything okay?
Well, honestly, I'm feeling a little sad. Well, I don't have any siblings. I mean, I was a very happy only child, but does that mean I can't make any Valentines?
I have to think about that for a moment.
Oh, Donk, of course you can make a Valentine. You're part of our community. You can make a Valentine for Gerard or for Frida or even Old Yak.
Ooh, Old Yak.
Old Yak?
You know, Trillium is right. Trillium is right. You are part of our community here, yes, our COVID bubble, as it were. Well, you have your family community who doesn't live nearby. But then there is the greater, larger community, our church beloved community. Yes, yes, and you have a big heart, Donk. And frankly, there's a lot of people who could use some extra love. Well, I'm thinking about those parents who are trying to work and teach at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And people who are living alone, or folks who are caring for relatives, or oh, and let's not forget our wonderful, beloved community elders.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they might be missing grandchildren, or they may have been struggling with the vaccine administration management program. Oh,
Ah, what a terrible piece of software that is. Terrible coding.
a fiasco. Yes, a fiasco.
Oh, and excuse me, Jillian. Speaking of old guys, you know what you made me think of? I might send a Valentine to Greg Prazar. He's pretty old, and I bet he plays video games, same as me.
I highly doubt that.
Oh, I miss Greg Prazar's wonderful laugh.
Oh, but don't forget the children. I'm thinking of sending a Valentine to my friend Eva in Germany.
Oh, wonderful idea. Yes, she's part of our family community. And then
That's right.
and then I'm thinking about the children in our beloved community. You all matter so much to me. Well, I think I'm going to send a Valentine to Moira and Betty, Arthur, Kat and Sam and Riley and Spencer and Simon and Elizabeth and Lily and Annalise and Leo and Kai and Kaylin and Ronan, and why, I think there might be a couple of new children joining us today. And you're very welcome. Oh, this is such a good idea. I have a lot of Valentines to make too, Kohlrabi.
Oh, good.
Well, then let's get busy. We have a lot to accomplish here. Now, where is the mucilage?
Mucilage? Mucilage?
Mucilage?
Are you talking about that glue from the Johnson administration?
Yes.
Kohlrabi, don't you know people use glue stick now?
Well, anyway, as long as it's sticky, we have a lot to accomplish here. Now, please take it away, D.R.E. Samuel.
Thank you, Kohlrabi and Donc and Trillium and Gamer Pete. And it is time for us to open our wonder boxes. And oh my goodness, I really, really hope that it is Valentine's today. I really, really, really want to make some Valentines for people after watching all of you guys. Yes, Elizabeth wants it too. All right, so during the pandemic, young people between the ages of 0 and 12 may sign up to have wonder boxes delivered to their houses. If your child is not currently on the Wonder Box list and would like to be, you can sign up by clicking the link that will appear in the chat. And let's open these Wonder Boxes. Please be Valentines. Please be Valentines. Let's see. Ooh, yes, Valentines. Not just any Valentines.
No.
These are cool scratch off Valentines. So they come with this little, if I can get it out here, stick. You got this little stick. It looks like a pencil. And it scratches on the black Valentines here to reveal a rainbow. Cool, huh? Here's the one I made already. It's disappeared. All right, so you'll have to take my word for it. You can draw anything on these Valentines using this little stick. And then there's some string. Somewhere around here I have an example one, but I think that my toddler has run off with it. Okay, so I have this string and you can attach it to the Valentine. And if you want, the back is blank and you can color it with marker or crayon or write a little message and sign your name. But who are we gonna send these to? Well, we got an answer for that too. We're gonna send these Valentines out into our beloved community. So each of you has been paired with a few members of our church community, and you can see that you all have envelopes and they have addresses and stamps already on them. So when you have finished your Valentines, you can just put them in the envelope and stick them in the mailbox and send that love out into our beloved community. But don't put them in the envelopes yet because we want to see them when we check back in at the end of the service. And If you are over the age of 12 and are sad because you didn't get a Wonder Box with Valentine's, that's okay. You can feel free to participate as well by making your own Valentines out of whatever you find lying around your house. I cannot wait to see everyone's creations.
So many gifts being shared with the community this morning, so many offerings. Offerings of creativity, offerings of generosity, offerings of love. There are so many ways that we support our community, support this congregation and its well-being, our journey into the future. So I hope that you will make an offering of a Valentine in whatever way works for you today and this week. And I hope that this morning during the offering time, you can support this congregation, either just with your kind attention or by making a financial gift to keep us alive and well for decades to come. There is a link in the chat so that you can go to our website and make a donation. And Taylor will hold us in music to honor all of these offerings of creativity and kindness. Thank you.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad today that we're talking about our community because it got me thinking a lot lately about how my favorite part of singing is singing with others. I'm really glad we're talking about this. It's hearing another person breathe next to you in choir so you know where to come in is a really special feeling. Learning to breathe silently with purpose so you can ground yourself and your body as an instrument. One secret to good ensemble singing is that if you breathe together, we come in together. Rehearsing where to put the S's and T's and cutoffs, there's something so satisfying about layering the human voice together with another human being and bringing attention to those details. To hear tones, maybe bright in the soprano section, or maybe a little warmer and maybe breathier in the altos. Qualities that might initially cause friction with each other, over time, kind of seem to soften into each other. This kind of process that only comes from deep listening over time really builds trust. Trust in your own instrument, trust in your own breathing, trust for the director, and trust for the people standing next to you. And something internally shifts in each singer throughout that process. Suddenly, and not really so, at the same time, not so suddenly, there's room for another voice inside of your own. Contrary to what that sounds, this process doesn't really take away from the individual. We need every nuance, every idiosyncrasy. The dark, warm tones are the perfect fit around the bright, cutting ones. It's this smaller microcosm of a community. We learn that not only is there room for everyone, but we really need everyone. Not just the voices like our own. The sum of the voices become greater than its parts, and we need all of the parts. And now we can't hear each other sing from behind the mute button. Now we have to learn how to deal with the sound latency. the time it takes for sound to come from my mouth into the microphone and out of your speakers. It's like kind of how everything you hear on Zoom actually happened in real time just moments before. That awkward amount of time, just long enough to wonder if the screen or the internet froze maybe, or if perhaps you left the mute button on again. Not to mention the pauses and glitches in time from having poor internet connection. It's these little moments of trial and tribulation where I become a little bit more patient and also willing to persevere. A little more able to slow down and pause instead of jumping right in, just to wait for Zoom to do its thing. A little more willing to wait through the internet hiccups. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes we're still creating that entity that becomes our one musical FUUSE choir voice, but the process looks a lot different. Every time I sit down at my computer to download and line up each individual voice or each instrumentalist, a part of me still wants those S's and T's to line up just right, just as if we were rehearsing in the same room. While I know I can't control that rehearsing online is nothing like being in the same room with other singers, there's still a part of me that just wants things to go back to normal. Although I know it's a small price for us to pay in the grand scheme of things, I'm happy to do our part for the health and well-being of each other. But it's also okay to miss the things we love. It's okay to miss real life togetherness. So every week we sing our hearts out, maybe even more urgently than before. No, we can't hear the person breathe next to us, so we know where to come in. We can't keep time or set a steady beat because the sound latency won't let it come out right. We slow down our pace, invite sound latency in as that extra choir member who makes us all sing out of time, and we cultivate an entirely different, valuable experience. We turn to music for its most healing elements, and we let go of the tidiness. We embrace choir chaos when we just unmute our mics and sing. We sing songs completely free from time feel, and we collaborate on recording projects. We sing out to our ancestors and put our sadness, fears, and hopes into the words that we sing. We sing out the weariness of the week, and we try new ways of making music in the face of uncertainty. We revel in making sincere and sometimes messy sound. It's not about being perfectly in tune. We are often not. And I think it makes us a little more rock and roll and a lot more human. And I think we're learning that this is a time to be messy. The dogs barking in the background of the recordings, the babies, the kitty Zoom bombs, the sounds of page turns, the room noise, the sound latency, the constant reminders of, hey, you're muted. Could you unmute? It's all good. The sounds that end up in the background of the projects we make provide the only snapshot into the fact that we're all huddled in our homes in the middle of a global crisis, not making a CD, but we're still trying. We're still struggling sometimes, still creating and making something together and getting through it. Not just making it through intact, but maybe even a little better off in some ways. I'm really glad that we're not waiting until we're in the same room again to make music. I'm glad we're letting the consonants bounce off of each other and making strings of bold, imperfectly perfect music, just so we can remember that we're tending to our community throughout the process. A constant reminder to ourselves that we're still here and that when we do it together, we're never alone. This song that our FUUSE choir and friends are going to sing and play today is called Crowded Table. It's an Americana tune written by Brandi Carlile and Natalie Hemby from the group The Highwomen. And you'll hear that the words call for us to keep building a more inclusive world. You'll also see how we've invited sound latency in to join the party. I found an interview with Brandi Carlile who says the song is about, quote, going into the world and being an activist and furthering agendas that I think will make the world a better place, but still being able to come home at the end of the day and be in my family and be with people that do not agree with me so that we can all move a little bit closer to the middle of the road. I love that. So this project took a whole village to complete. Bill Downall put the video together. Lisa Bunker played bass. Bert Lamb played the drums. Nancy Fisk played clarinet. And the FUUSE choir sang the 3-part arrangement. And Ginny Berrien is our featured soloist. So I hope you enjoy Crowded Table.
Thank you, Village, for that gift. In this collective stutter that we are experiencing, it's our chance to notice the place where we are learning to live into the awkwardness, the misses, the glitches, the overlaps, and keep finding our way to wholeness, keep finding that beauty that is still so clearly available. This is one of the ways that we are doing our work of undoing this thing that we call white supremacy culture. The culture that says that things need to be under control all the time. The culture that says we need to be perfect, that we can't make mistakes, that we can't just have a moment or a long time when we think, I'm not sure what's happening or what to do about it. We're getting to experience those things so often now that we're learning to find our way into them and through them. Zoom may give us some gifts that we can carry forward. The gift of being glitchy and uncertain and out of sync, and continuing to build real connections right through all of it. We might be able to use this as we navigate our relationships and our attempts at social change and family connections and reconnections in the future. I wonder what the in-person equivalent will be of someone losing their connection for 10 minutes and then jumping back into a conversation. I wonder what the in-person equivalent of "you're still muted" will be. I think there is one, and I think we'll find it together. I heard a story this summer on the radio show This American Life that I wanted to share with you. I think it's one version of navigating the in-person equivalent of "you're muted," or at least what it's like to navigate this sound latency. It's a story about having a crowded table, everyone a little bit broken, and a place for everyone. The story starts a little over a year ago at a performance event in Manhattan on New Year's Day 2020, before all this started. Famous people and locals all get 2 or 3 minutes at this event to perform their song or their comedy routine or their poem. It lasts for hours. But for us, there are really just 2 characters. Sean Cole, who is a periodic guest host for This American Life, and Jerome Ellis, who is a composer, a performer, a musician. Later in the story, it will be important to know that Sean is a white man and Jerome is a Black man. But here at the beginning, the room is abuzz, full of people there to do their thing and to listen to other people's gifts. Jerome takes the stage and starts to say something about cell phone companies in Brazil who have to give a 50%, and then he pauses. It's a long pause. Sean in the audience looks up. He's trying to figure out what is going on with the man on the stage who has frozen, who's making little sounds, but Sean and the others in the room can't figure out what's going on. Is this a performance piece about cell phone coverage? Finally, Jerome on stage unfreezes and says the word discount, and goes on to say that cell phone companies in this part of Brazil give a 50% discount to people with speech disfluencies like his. Sean then understands that Jerome is on stage to talk about what it's like to live in the world with a stutter. And the reason he got stuck on the word discount is that his particular stutter means that words like D and J, which of course is the first letter of his name, are particularly hard to get past. Sean begins to pay attention, not only to Jerome on the stage, but to the room around him, to how people are listening, to the sense of ease or unease in the room. As Jerome navigates his short talk, the people in the room settle in and listen. It's supposed to be a 2 to 3 minute talk, but because of his stutter, it takes 7.5 minutes to finish that piece of speaking. And the people in the room, after initially being uneasy and uncertain, settle in to listen deeply, to just be present for the pauses and the glitches and listen. Sean says in the radio show that part of why it was so compelling is because it was uncertain. What was happening up on the stage, what was going to happen next. And as this piece went past the 2-minute mark and the 3-minute mark and stretched on towards 7 minutes, the crowd just got still. No longer confused or concerned, they were just there for what was happening. Just watching someone be the thing that they were talking about. Jerome was the pauses, and he was the courage to keep going. He took almost 2 minutes to say this phrase. The Black feminist scholar Kimberly Crenshaw once wrote, "Names," he says, "are especially hard." And what Kimberly Crenshaw said was, treating different things the same can generate as much inequality as treating the same things differently. Treating different things the same can generate as much inequality as treating the same things differently. In the radio version of this moment that I'm describing to you, the producers mixed that last part of what Jerome said with jazz trumpet. So you can hear the words starting and pausing and having their own kind of rhythm. And then the trumpet starts to have its own rhythm of speaking and then pausing and then speaking again, its own raveling and unraveling, just as Jerome's language stutters and searches and finally arrives. Jerome said that when someone sent him an invitation to speak at this New Year's Day event, he was very uncomfortable with the idea, partially because of that time limit. He knew that it would be hard to speak in front of a crowd, to be that vulnerable, I think. And he told Sean in their Zoom conversation, some 6 months later, that he decided that he wanted to go toward that discomfort. That's it. That is the courage for life right there. Go toward that discomfort and live through it. And here is part of why I think that he was able to make that choice to go toward the discomfort. He has an amazing way of perceiving himself connected to others. He says that he sometimes talks about his stutter, but often he refers to it as the stutter. Not something that's just his, because it is something that is in fact happening between him and whoever he is talking to. It's something that they navigate together no matter what, which really it is. Every communication is navigated by both people, all people. All the people have to figure out what to do with that moment when the words stop. In some way, we are all navigating that same thing these days. The freezes, the words that get sped up and stretched out. This week, I was talking with someone and suddenly the words stopped being words and it sounded instead like a large spring was being stretched out and then compressed, which isn't a language I speak. And a few seconds later, that person was just mid-sentence going along merrily, unaware that I had just slipped into this alternate world for a little while, missed what they'd said, and was still recovering from talking to a spring. And there was the interrupting and catching up and reconnecting. It was awkward. The sense of being together on something was stretched and uncertain. At the end of his conversation with Sean, Jerome talks about being a musician and how the jazz music that he plays is different from the pop music that his mostly white peers were interested in. For one thing, he said, it mostly takes longer for a jazz song to do what it's trying to do. He noticed on the records that he played as a young man that there were 4 songs on a record instead of the 9 or 10 that were on his peers' records, because the songs just took longer. And he observes that this is a conversation between musical styles and a conversation between African-American culture and white European culture. It's a conversation between one sense of time and another sense of time. A tidy 3-minute pop song and a partially improvised conversation among many voices, the trumpet, the bass, the piano, that stretches and pauses and has surprises for 9 minutes. They're 2 very different things. How amazing to listen to such different voices, to realize that just because we've done things one way for a long time doesn't mean that that's the way things have to be done. And then it turns out that the world is so much more generous and full, that there are so many songs, so many ways to go about this project of making more life together. We can just keep leaning into the discomfort of the cultural conversations, the discomfort of all of the daily moments that we navigate, and keep finding the song that's waiting on the other side. There is always a pause between what happens in our lives and how we share it with others. There is a little lag between how we experience our lives and the meaning that we find and make in our days. Together, we learn to be patient, to let things unfold. We learn to log back in when we lose a connection. Stay here for this time that we make to hear the unfolding, to see what is just coalescing, what our lives are becoming in all their mystery and uncertainty and beauty. This particular creation of beloved community is always reaching beyond ourselves. I invite you to find your comfortable spot for some time of meditation. Some time to settle into yourself in this moment, to settle into whoever and however you are right now. And for the introduction to the meditation, I just give you a few lines from that song the choir sang. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day is done. The door is always open. Your picture's on my wall. Everyone's a little broken, and everyone belongs. Yes, everyone belongs. In our shared quiet, may we all settle into a sense of belonging.
May your life be as a song,
Sounding with the dawn to sing awake the light.
and softly serenade the stars.
Ever dancing circles in the night.
may your life be as a song.
Resounding with the dawn to sing awake the light.
And softly serenade the stars.
Ever dancing circles in the night.
May your life be as a song.
Resounding with the dawn to sing awake the light.
And softly serenade the stars.
Ever dancing circles in the night. Ever dancing circles in the night.
I invite you to sing for those rainbow trails of love. For all that is our life, the words will be in the chat.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use.
Thank you for all of the gifts of today. We let you go out into this day that promises snow. If you need to go, I hope you can stay for coffee hour conversation. They're 20 minutes in a small group to talk about whatever came up in the service today or whatever is on your mind. But before you go or gather for coffee hour, I invite you to say our benediction to bless each other in this week ahead. Go in peace. Speak truth. Give thanks each day. Respect the earth and all creatures, for they are alive like you. Care for your body. It is a wondrous gift. Be gentle with yourself. Live simply. Be of service. Be guided by your faith and not your fear. Go lightly on your way. Walk in a sacred manner.